Hello everyone, this is Yijia Xu. This video project is for Accounting 220 Accounting Ethics class. My topic is the success of McDonald's business model and ethical issues behind it. The Founder is a biographical drama movie released in 2016, directed by John Lee Hancock and penned by Robert Siegel, featuring Michael Keaton in the role of businessman Ray Kroc. The film narrates the tale of how he established the McDonald's fast food restaurant chain. This journey eventually led to his calculated and ruthless maneuvering to push out the original founders of the company and assume control. Ray encountered the McDonald's brothers when they placed an unusual large order for 8 mixtures, an uncommon request given that these mixtures featured multiple spindles. This piqued Ray's interest as it was unusual for a small restaurant to generate such significant demand for mixtures. Upon comprehending the McDonald's concept and witnessing their operations, Ray was utterly impressed. Throughout his career of selling mixtures to restaurants, he had never come across a restaurant that operated as efficiently and effectively as McDonald's. When Ray proposed the idea of expanding McDonald's throughout the United States through franchising, the McDonald's brothers had already sold more than 20 franchises and managed 8 restaurants independently. However, they were not particularly enthusiastic about nationwide expansion. In response, Ray offered to take on the primary responsibility for expansion, and the two parties reached an agreement. The McDonald's brothers agreed on Ray Kroc to lead the franchise, but on the condition of a strict contract, which requires all changes to be subject to the McDonald's brothers' approval. During those earlier days, McDonald's franchises its outlets using the traditional model, where franchisees paid a royalty fee to use the McDonald's brand name. Initially, 1.9% of the franchise profits was allocated to the McDonald's operation. Out of this, 0.5% went to the McDonald's brothers, while Ray utilized the remaining 1.4% to fund further expansion efforts. In 1956, Ray encountered Harry J. Sonneborn, who presented him with a straightforward concept to expedite the expansion of McDonald's throughout the nation: acquire the land on which future franchises would be constructed. Under this innovative arrangement, commonly referred to as the Sonneborn model, McDonald's would purchase the land where franchise outlets were to be built, offering it to franchise owners on extended fixed-rate leases with a profit margin. The brilliance of the Sonneborn financial strategy lay in the fact that McDonald's not only earned royalty fees from franchises, but also generated rental income while continuously expanding its real estate holdings. Following McDonald's adoption of the Sonneborn model, in 1958, the company saw a rapid increase, opening 68 new locations within a single year. While McDonald's was actively expanding throughout the United States, conflicts regarding the company's direction escalated between the McDonald's brothers and Ray. In 1961, Ray approached the original founders, the McDonald's brothers, and inquired about the amounts required for them to completely exit the business. The brothers agreed to a $2.7 million lump sum payment, equivalent to $26 million in 2020, ownership of their original restaurant in San Bernardino, and a 1% annual royalty. But when the time comes to finalize the agreement, Kroc refuses to include the royalty in the settlement and instead offers it as a handshake deal. An epilogue reveals that the McDonald's brothers were never paid their royalties, which would eventually have been about 100 million a year. By 1963, Ray, alongside Sonneborn, managed a network of over 500 locations across America. In 1967, McDonald's initiated its international expansion by opening restaurants in Canada and Puerto Rico. As of 2021, the company operates in 119 different countries. Kroc was born on October 5, 1902 in Oak Park, Illinois, near Chicago. His parents, Rosemary and Alois Kroc, were of Czech American descent. After immigrating to the United States, Alois experienced financial success by speculating on land during the 1920s, but he suffered substantial losses in the stock market crash of 1929. During World War I, Kroc falsified his age and joined the Red Cross as an ambulance driver at the age of 15. His military service coincided with the end of the war. Throughout the Great Depression, Kroc held various jobs, including selling paper cups, working as a real estate agent in Florida, and occasionally performing as a pianist in bands. Following the World War II, Kroc secured a job as a sales representative for milkshake mixers at Prince Castle, a company specializing in food service equipment. While Prince Castle mixers faced a decline in sales due to competition from more affordable handling speech alternatives, Kroc became intrigued by the story of Richard and Maurice McDonald. Those two entrepreneurs had bought 8 of his mixtures for their San Bernardino, California restaurants. In 1954, Kroc visited them, making the start of his involvement with McDonald's. Kroc's initial 2 marriages to Ethel Fleming and Jane Dobbin Greens concluded in divorce. Kroc and Fleming crossed paths in 1919 and soon developed a romantic relationship, leading to their marriage in 1922. They relocated to Chicago, Illinois, and in 1924 they welcomed their daughter Marilyn. His third spouse, Joan Kroc, was a philanthropist who significantly increased her charitable contributions following Kroc's passing. She directed her donations towards various causes that held her interest, including the advocacy for peace and efforts to prevent nuclear proliferation. Harold J. Sonneborn was an American entrepreneur most renowned for serving as the inaugural president and chief executive officer of McDonald's Corporation. Sonneborn was born in Evansville, Indiana. He was adopted and brought up by his aunt Jeanette and her spouse Louis Sonneborn in New York City. As former vice president of finance at T-Fries, Sonneborn proposed to Ray Kroc the idea of acquiring the land where McDonald's outlets would be constructed and subsequently leasing that land to the franchisees. This business strategy played a pivotal role in the remarkable expansion of McDonald's, with real estate transactions managed through a specially established entity known as McDonald's Franchise Realty Corp. The enduring Sonneborn model continues to be a fundamental part of the company's operations and could arguably be considered one of the most crucial financial decisions in the company's history. Currently, McDonald's real estate assets are valued at $37.7 billion on its financial statements, continuing approximately 99% of the company's assets and around 35% of its global revenue. In 1959, Kroc designated Sonneborn as McDonald's inaugural president and CEO, a position he held until his resignation in 1967, which stemmed from a disagreement with Kroc. This dispute arose because Kroc wanted to pursue continued expansion, while Cinnabon adopted a more cautious approach, citing concerns about an impending economic downturn and consequently halting the construction of new stores. Kroc eventually assumes the role of president and CEO. Following his departure from McDonald's, Sullivan remained engaged in the business realm, involving himself in activities such as stock market investment, capital ventures, and banking. Together with his wife, he established several philanthropic foundations. In the 2016 movie The Founder, actor B.J. Novak portrayed Sullivan and delivered the famous line, "You are not in the burger business, you are in the real estate business." Initially, the corporate headquarters would lease both the land and buildings and then sublease this entire package to franchisees. Franchisees paid a markup of up to 40% on the base lease amount or 5% of their sales, whichever figure was higher. Over time, this approach evolved into a system where franchisees took out mortgages on the properties, effectively resulting in corporate ownership of both the land and the buildings. Franchisees would provide an initial deposit, which was initially as low as $950 to serve as a down payment. After assisting franchisees in managing their businesses, corporate management could, in theory, step back and collect royalties and rent payments. This setup allows franchisees to eventually acquire ownership of the property on behalf of the company. As of December 2015, McDonald's reported gross property, plant, and equipment worth $37.7 billion on its balance sheet, accounting for slightly over 99% of the company's total assets. The brilliance of the Sullivan financial model lay in the fact that the company financed the properties with long-term fixed-rate arrangements while passing variable fees onto the franchisees. As sales and property values inevitably increasing over the years, the franchisee's payments to the corporate entity as a percentage of sales grow, while the company's costs remain relatively stable. This model transformed McDonald's into a robust cash flow generator and continues to underpin the company's operations today. Why this topic? McDonald's, as one of the most famous fast food restaurants in the world, was not lucrative for their burgers but real estate. Just like the famous line in the movie when Harry talked to Ray, "You are not in the burger business, you are in the real estate business." If we look at revenue proportionally to the percentage of stores, having more company-operated stores would increase McDonald's revenue by an order of magnitude. Why is it then that McDonald's has been doing the exact opposite over the years, increasing the number of franchise-owned stores and decreasing the number of company-owned stores? Well, it is because the profit margin numbers tells a very different story. Even though 7% of companies operated stores made a revenue of $9.7 billion in 2021, they made a profit only $1.7 billion because expenses stood at $8 billion. On the other hand, while 93% of the franchise-operated stores made a revenue of $13 billion, profit stood at $10.7 billion because it cost McDonald's only $2.3 million to run those outlets. If we break up McDonald's franchise-operated revenue further, we see that rent contributes way more to the bottom line than royalties, providing the brilliance of McDonald's real estate model. Out of the $10.7 billion McDonald's collected in fees from restaurants in 2020, $6.89 billion came from rent and $3.8 billion came from franchise royalties. To sum it all up, here's how McDonald's real estate model works. While McDonald's is obviously a franchise-based restaurant, the rent it collects from franchises is more than the amount it gets in franchise royalties. McDonald's also buys the land and building at most of its locations, adding real estate assets and keep growing in value to its portfolio. Actually, there are many big companies not primarily focused on real estate but being successful financially because they own substantial amounts of land and real estate. Some examples including Walmart, one of the world's largest retailer, owns a vast amount of real estate for its stores and distribution centers. They strategically acquire land for new store locations and distribution hubs. Telecommunications giant AT&T also extensive real estate, including cell towers, data centers, and office buildings to support its network infrastructure and operations. Apple owns a significant amount of real estate and land for various purposes related to its business operations. While Apple is primarily known for the technology products and services, the company also invests in real estate for a range of purposes, including corporate campuses, retail stores, data centers, and etc. In the movie The Founder, the ethical implications of the Sonneborn model were Sonneborn's suggestions to turn the burger business into a real estate business are portrayed as a point of contention between Ray Kroc and the McDonald's brothers. From the perspective of the McDonald's brothers, who initially founded the restaurant concept and worked hard to create an efficient system for serving quality food quickly, Sonneborn's idea of turning the business into a real estate enterprise was seen as ethically questionable. They had a different version for their restaurant. The brothers focused primarily on providing a consistent dining experience to customers, while Ray and Sonneborn felt that they should prioritize profits over the integrity of their original concept. Kroc and Sullivan believed that this business model was necessary for the rapid expansion of McDonald's and securing the company's financial future. They saw it as a strategic move to capitalize on the real estate value of the properties where McDonald's restaurants were located. The movie presents these differing viewpoints and the resulting conflicts as central to the movie. The ethical dimension of whether it was right to shift the focus of McDonald's from a food service business to a real estate business is explored, and it becomes a central point of tension between the characters. Ultimately, the ethical assessment of the Sonneborn's model in the movie is subjective and depends on one's perspective. Some may see it as shrewd business decisions, while others may view it as a betrayal of the original version of the McDonald's brothers. The film allows viewers to form their own judgments on the matter. Although it's challenging to label Ray Kroc as outright malevolent, his actions becomes progressively questionable or morally ambiguous in the movie as he relentlessly pursues his own agenda. This includes engaging in unethical behavior in both his business dealing and personal relationships, such as abandoning his initial spouse to pursue the wife of one of his franchisees. Despite Dick and Maurice McDonald's pioneering work in streamlining efficiency, they failed to recognize opportunities that Ray Kroc envisioned. While Maurice confronts Kroc over the phone in a pivotal sense, challenging his contributions and inventions, the reality is that Kroc did bring substantial innovations to the table and significantly enhance their partnership. In fact, Kroc effectively addressed the central issue faced by the McDonald's brothers, which was maintaining quality control. He achieved this by establishing efficient systems and ultimately introducing a new business framework that enabled him to better train and retain control over franchise owners. The film doesn't cover this, but those systems eventually turned into what is now called Hamburger University, a 130,000 square foot training facility in Oak Brook, Illinois, where franchise owners go to learn the essence of what it means to run a McDonald's. The film highlights that being a successful entrepreneur doesn't always hinge on inventing a groundbreaking product or service or excelling as a manager who launches a business from scratch. In many cases, the most successful entrepreneurs possess the ability to recognize opportunities and potential in existing circumstances when others cannot. While the movie portrays Dick and Marie's McDonald's as receiving the shorter end of the deal when Ray found ways to bypass their original contract, it also demonstrated that they didn't build what Ray ultimately created. The McDonald's brothers established a single successful burger stand, while Ray Kroc developed an expansive empire. At the shoe of the entrepreneur, I believe Ray Kroc is not unethical. In 1961, Ray approached the original founders, the McDonald's brothers, and inquired about the amount required for them to completely exit the business. The brothers agreed to a 2.7 million lump sum payment, equivalent to 26 million in 2020, ownership of their original restaurant in San Bernardino, and a 1% annual royalty. But when the time comes to finalize the agreement, Kroc refuses to include the royalty in the settlement and instead offers it as a handshake deal. An epilogue reveals that the McDonald's brothers were never paid their royalties, which would eventually have been about 100 million a year. As a general rule, the law does not necessitate most agreements to be in writing to be enforceable. A binding legally enforceable agreement or contract can be in writing or oral. A verbal contract or a handshake agreement may be just as enforceable as a written contract. If the handshake deal is true as stated in the movie, Ray Kroc is unethical and also illegal for not paying the McDonald's brothers the royalty. In fact, there are several franchise businesses where the founder of the franchise system is not the original business owner, just like the case of McDonald's. For example, Subway was founded by Fred DeLuca and Peter Buck, but it was DeLuca who grew the business into a franchise empire. While Colonel Harland Sanders founded the original Kentucky Fried Chicken concept, it was franchised by others, including Pete Harmon, Dave Thomas, and others who played key roles in expanding the chain. Dunkin' Donuts was originally founded by William Rosenberg, but it was franchised and expanded into a national and international chain by others. Baskin-Robbins, known for its ice cream and frozen desserts, was founded by Burke Baskin and Alf Robbins. Although they established the brand, the growth and franchising efforts expanded under different ownership. Glenn Bell founded Taco Bell, but the company's nationwide and international growth came after it was sold to PepsiCo and later spun off as part of Yum's brand. Hertz, the car rental company, was founded by Walter L. Jacobs, but it was John D. Hertz who purchased and grew the company through franchising. These examples show that while the original founders played a crucial role in establishing the business concept, franchising allowed others to take those concepts to a much larger scale. Franchising often involves collaboration between the original concept creators and franchise developers and investors who see the potential for expansion. Thanks for watching.